All right, folks, Positive Paul. Here we are. Yes, sirree, Bob, on Saturday, February 8th, 2020, of course, just about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Well, the air show's going on outside. We're going to move on to bigger and better things. And I was going to do a flash in the pan Friday, TI, extravaganza, but in the melee yesterday, quite colorful yesterday, but in the melee, I couldn't get to it. So we're going to do that now. But today we're going to talk about Doofus over here, Brian 2. And I guess around 2016, he was in San Diego. And his videos he was making, going over his issues, going over this infamous R&M supercomputer, I noticed that he was hanging around the Point Loma Library there off of Voltaire Street, right next to Point Loma High School. And, a couple times I had tried to go over there and see if I could find him, and he was nowhere to be found. And, he had claimed he was staying at the church over in Old Town, right off of Old Town Avenue there, which obviously he was. He had his gear all set up there by the big utility box on the opposite side of the street side where the park is. But, I tried that a couple times and I just, nothing. Now, of course, you got to remember, they're tracking me like, a bloodhound on a mule deer. And look, just like I say, all right, with the phonies, do you think they can't contact Monkey Boy here too and tell him to skedaddle because I'm nosing around? Well, yes. So point being is, folks, that was 4 years ago. And, I got to tell you, man, we can say one thing. This guy is definitely being tortured. He definitely was probably put through trauma-based mind control. And no doubt, he may have had this job and he was privy to some information. But something along the way, folks, is not right. And this is what we're going to go back over. Now, a year ago, would have been last week, I posted a video concerning Brian 2, Mr. Globetrotter. Yeah, I still don't understand where these people get all this money to, in particular him, to do all this traveling. But I did a video concerning Mr. 2 here and Michael Barden. Now, the funny part is, as I said, I've got no ill will against anybody. But, when I spend enough time and something's not jiving, I can't let this slide. So the point with Brian here is we'll fast forward to last year, where he had his famous video calling out all TIs to join him in this lawsuit concerning the targeting in America and the illegal surveillance and all the nasty stuff that goes along with it. And it's funny, he had his wish list on his his video, which I have. And I don't know how the hell the two top people were Zeph Daniel and Michael Barden. And then a couple others, Eric Carlstrom, what's his name? Carlstrom, whatever that guy's name is. Ramal D. The whole gang. So anyway, and hey, nothing against Zeph either. I'm just saying his name was on there. Zeph should be our hero, and you are, Zeph. Don't worry. All right. So, Brian 2 calls this big, he wants to rally the troops for the big lawsuit. So what did I get on and tell you within a couple weeks that there will never, ever be a lawsuit concerning the targeting in America. And stop wasting your money. If you throw money, you might as well flush it down the toilet. Now, here we are, folks, a year later, and nobody is even getting close. And again, why? Why do you keep promoting this PI, Steve, this private investigator? And look, bro, I love you, man. Whatever your deal is, dude, a private investigator will not even get to the heart of the matter, even if they are doing their best. And that's trying to, look, I don't know what the situation is up there, but again, TIs don't have thousands of dollars to throw around. So with that being said, let's talk about two in this big R&M supercomputer that he promotes and has been talking about now for going on 5 years. Now look, we know part of this targeting concerns mind control. And at the top of the list are people in my age group, 50 and up, that were exposed to trauma-based mind control and satanic ritual abuse. I don't think he was exposed to satanic ritual abuse. He's never talked about it. But I think his well, let's talk about what his big shtick is, right? And this ain't no shtick, let me tell you. So Brian claims to be out somewhere, I don't know what, the Dutch Indies, Bermuda, who knows? He's in a college somewhere, and his famous thing, how he starts off his spiel, is that they did a voice 2K when he was walking by people, and he heard the voices come into his head. And it all started from there, back around 1999. And it all led up to this big remote neural monitoring system that's up everybody's rear end. And trust me, they have something like that to that effect. And if they can get away with this, they will. But I'm going to tell you why they can't, and they're not. So Brian, he shows up on some of these channels, on Ramallah D. He did his big interview on I can't remember, folks. I'm sorry. This is going back 4 years, where he went down the whole line about how this works. And here's the whole thing. You got to ask yourself, one, if this R&M supercomputer exists, where is it? Or do they have them everywhere now, right? These reptoids have been, just like little ants, going all throughout the United States, and wherever they can set up shop, right? Set up camp, they're going to probably set this stuff up. So his big thing is there's this R&M supercomputer that can monitor everybody's move, especially people that, in particular, that they're focusing on, these targets. All right. Now, what does he tell you? What does Brian tell you? That, okay, the computer multiplexer routes the signal through the satellite, tower, or mobile platform, and then it transmits into the target. So how does he tell us that this occurs? That these no-goodnik reptoids in the United States government and governments around the world that are doing this to their citizens, unbeknownst to them, are somehow capturing their brainwave imprints along with their body resonance signatures, which all this is true, all right? And it sounds good, all right? But here's the rub. So they get this and they upload it into this supercomputer. And so now they're going to start to work on you. Now, what's the one thing? Let's talk about where some of the things he's correct, folks, and how this all works with the transmission of frequencies and signals trying to somehow influence behavior. All right? So the way this works is that if they can route a signal through a satellite and it's looking for a particular, right? It's a hidden frequency that they attach your brainwave print to this hidden frequency that this transmission from the R&M supercomputer is going to find. So the one thing he says that is true is timing and location. Now, when he says timing and location, well, I'm going to tell you folks, and this is what he's trying to tell you, that this thing during all hours of the day can somehow influence you if you let it, to where you don't really understand that these thoughts that they're projecting or injecting, right? This injection feedback loop that they're putting into your mind are not your own, but you don't realize it. This is why, look, so the signal, right? It's looking for its target. Well, I will tell you folks, it's next to impossible to do that if you're a thinking, living human being and you're awake during the hours going about your business. Yes, if you're going to stay in one place too long, they can probably pin you down and do something. But to have that signal stick and stay constant, right? What does he say, folks? Oh, a constant stream of electromagnetic energy in the form of extreme low frequency, and it hits its target. And look, think about this, folks. What's the one complaint that real TIs complain about concerning directed energy? It's during their sleeping hours when you're most vulnerable, all right? That's when they hit you. Now, again, myself, what have I've told you over and over again for years now, that if you don't physically feel this signal hitting you, then there's something wrong. You're a reptoid, you're a hybrid, or worse. All right? This is a sensation, and this is what they tell you. Look, with these feds running around with this equipment, this sensitive equipment that can transmit frequencies at either, long distance, preferably you got to get right up on the person to really have it have an effect. But the whole point is, folks, that this remote neural monitoring system is supposed to just be sending out all these signals to these targets, and somehow some of them can be influenced if they're not aware. So yes, he talks about situational awareness. Look, Brian, hey, his presentation, he's got it down and he keeps repeating it, folks. So here's the thing I'm trying to tell you, that he doesn't even touch the demonic realm. He doesn't even, his big thing is that, yes, he listens to Christian music, and that dampens the R&M remote monitor system, right? It does something to it, all right? It interferes, it gets in the way of this R&M system. So just like anything else, after time, you have to extract what is believable and what is not. So what I am telling you, that if you're a target and you are still in the beginning stages of this targeting, meaning you have a job, you have money in the bank, you still have, support, all that, and you're out and about, it's going to be difficult to do something to you with this R&M. Now, they get you in your sleep. We know that. They wake you up, folks. There's no doubt about that. Now look, we know that they can capture our body resonance signature. And yes, we each probably have a unique brainwave imprint like our fingerprints. And that will show on an EEG. But again, to try to get that connection and have that constant stream of elf waves coming in and it not being interfered with, That's what I'm saying. If you feel this, move out of the way or do something. Like put headphones on and crank up your music. All right? I believe when he talks about that, yes, that stuff's true. But look, you cannot do the same thing over and over again. How is this fucking guy globetrotting everywhere all over the United States? He's telling you to go to countries that don't like Americans. All right? Now, is that the most stupidest advice anybody could give you? Now, look, where is he now? He's back in Ecuador. How does that happen? This guy, he's in China a couple weeks ago. And now he's in Ecuador, getting beat up again. Look, this is why. Why do I do this? Because, you know what? My time is short. And if I don't do this, nobody will. So Brian, now he's not even heavily promoted on YouTube. All right? It's amazing. So here, let's look at this. These targets that are heavily promoted in the algorithms, all right? Number 1 is String Bean right up here. Mr. Miyagi. Richard Bruce, all right? With his famed shapeshifter analysis videos concerning Hollywood. Now, I tell you, when Divine Truth showed Rich on Vice with his crooked thumb, oh my God. And why do you think when he does these self-analysis things on him, why do you think he does that? All right? But String Bean is the number 1 promoted, all right, targeting video on YouTube. And it's been that way ever since he did this a while back. And right here, it's 2.5 million views. It's almost 3 million now. They don't promote his channel because his channel's promoted on there now. Now, number 2 is Barden. All right? Here's Barden with his video, this same video. And look, it's well over 80,000 views right now. All right? And we're gonna get to him, but the point being is, folks, all right, these people, if the information they're giving all of us is genuine, why aren't we getting anywhere with this targeting situation? All right? So I find it funny that when I do my VA video on how they tried to string me up, and now we're 5 years down the road, those clowns, they'll all get theirs. And I showed how they were trying to make me look, crazy, and I had to take drug tests just to make sure. Who within days, who supposedly does the drug test? Him and Ochu, which I love Ochu. All right, I'm glad he's back. He disappeared for a little bit. But these flash in the pan TIs. Look, here's another, Boswell right there. All right, he's who knows what his deal is right now. The reason why I wanted to talk to him is because he's in Minnesota. And part of my family, the other side of my family, who I can do a video on, who knows if they're connected to the Illuminati? I doubt it. But it concerns my dad's godfather, Hubert Humphreys, 36th vice president, all right? Along with him and Uncle Carl, that probably, who knows what they told my father. I want to believe my father's not a stone-cold Satanist like those two. But they had their hands on me, all right? And we all know the deal. But Boswell was nowhere to be found, and he's got phonies showing up on his comment section, all right? I wanted him to go to the University of Minnesota, where he lives by, and do something for me, because this family's files that were donated by my grandmother are located there. But that's all right. I've got what I need. So here we are, folks, all right? Here we are. These videos can go sideways quick, can't they? And what's interesting, that Brian very rarely, if ever, has the comments section open. And 2 times when I was trying to connect with people that made comments when he had it open, He erased my comment and shut the comment section down. Now again, I'm going to tell you people for the last time, you cannot keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect to be believed. You cannot globetrot all over the world. Where is this money coming from? You know? So the remote neural monitoring system. I remember, what was it? I guess a couple years back, 4 years ago, where one of the dopes on 60 Minutes did a big expose on Watson, the big supercomputer up in San Jose. And they took us through a tour of the big warehouse where Watson's located. And I was like, they even said like the electric bill, like every month to keep that place cool is like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Could you imagine that? So look, I do think this supercomputer exists, but what's it capable of, right, folks? This is what I'm trying to say. So yes, Brian too, he gives you, even his stalking information, some of it is correct concerning the gang stalkers, all right? But again, I try to track this guy down in San Diego. Nowhere to be found, all right? Because I was watching him. I would even sit there and wait at the Point Loma library thinking that he might show up because my apartment was only 5 minutes away. But no, they knew I was there and they weren't going to let him get nowhere near me because I would have approached him. And what would have Brian, what's his number one thing he does? Everybody's a gang stalker. Oh, this guy, that. Look, if you've watched this clown for 5 years, you'll pick up on the fact that something's not right. Now, here's the amazing thing, folks. When I pointed him out about every time he posts a comment, all right, it's a paste and copy comment, all right? And then the day I point that out, what does two do? He shows up on Sapanic's channel and makes like some stupid comment, all right? I was like, and so what does he do now? He's commenting on everybody who claims to be a TI. You'll see Brian 2's comments on there now. And some of them are still paste and copy. But, but hey, look, what do you want from me, people? You want me to be all warm and fuzzy and tell you how everything's going to be okay? Look, here, another video, all right? He's showing the same thing over and over again, folks. It's hilarious. This one brings down the American FBI. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I'm in Russia, waiting to get to China, waiting to get to, the Antarctic to check in with the tall whites. See, Brian, the one thing he's missing is he's got no clue about the spiritual aspect of this all. While there is modern technology that is definitely giving all of us a hard time, what do I tell you? If you do not incorporate the spiritual aspect of this and reach out to the God Almighty, you're missing the point. And don't miss the boat either.